The only things that are unavoidable in life are death and taxes, and currency definitions, and tender definitions. Well, maybe not all of those things, but the only things that are definitely unavoidable in life are death and taxes. And so in this video, we're going to be talking about tax rate setup. We're going to be talking about currency definition and tender definition. First, let's talk about something important to every business I'm aware of, unless you live in some jurisdiction where they don't do sales tax, and that is taxes. So, to go ahead and do it, there are a few different ways. If you still have your new company set up window popped out, you can click on this top option that says Review Tax Rates, which will pop out this thing here. I'm going to get rid of that new company setup, which will pop out this thing here. Or alternatively, to get to that, you'd want to go to, let me see if I can remember this, Utilities and Tax Rates. I was right. And it gets you to the same place. So if you have some sort of special taxation that's not covered here, such as the sales tax or tax exempt groups, you can add a sales tax group and enter these things here. I'm going to zoom in and we'll talk about what each of these things does. Okay, tax group. As you can see, we can either set someone or something as sales to do state sales tax or as tax exempt. If we look at the state sales tax by having it highlighted, description 1, sales tax. Description 2, 8% sales tax. Oops. Which it only likes so many characters. So each tax group can have multiple tax categories. For example, you might have merchandise such as food, labor, etc. So here we go. Tax categories are merchandise and non-taxable. You can add more of these in here, such as it says food, labor, etc., that would be taxed at a different rate. So sales tax rates is each category can have a different tax rate. For example, merchandise can be taxed one way, while food isn't taxed or can be taxed a different way. So, category is sales tax, and it's taxed at our 8% rate. All tax rates, and you can use these buttons here to define, to move from here to here, the rates. So, if I clicked on Add and said Description, Labor Tax, enter, and let's say the tax rate on labor was at, if it's anything above $50, charge a 5% tax. So we'd go 0.05, if I did that right, and then minimum amount, you leave it at 0. And if it's, actually, no, I did that wrong. If it's anything above $50, so your minimum is 50, and your maximum is anything above, so 0. Actually, I think I may have goofed that. Try that again. Okay, so if it's anything above 50, so the maximum amount for which we can charge this is $50. Anything 50 or above, assess the tax. If not, don't. And you can always include this tax rate, include the previous tax rate, something you can do for Canada. Apply tax to the cost, Canada specific. Tax rate exemption, no exemption. You can do all your exemptions and assign tax to description 1 or description 2. So as we can see here, there are multiple ways to do your taxes. And believe it or not, there is actually a very good article. If you hit F1 here, which is get help when you need it, you will get the help screen for the tax definition. So you can actually see, you can actually see the, you can get very, very detailed help no matter what screen you're on. F1, and this will tell you everything you'd ever want to know about the tax setup. So if I may have messed up that example, there is an example in here on how to do it. Special fees and taxes. I'm looking for something. Special taxation setup. So this is actually where I kind of pulled that example from, but I may have messed it up. And they use motorcycles as an example here for that. But this is how you'd find how to do some of these. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. But like I said, the only thing in life that's certain is death and taxes. That's how you'd set up your taxes. That's how you do any special tax setup. Another thing is currency and tender setup. So if we go to File, Definitions, let's start out with tender definitions. So, tender definitions. And it would be nice if we did not have, let's say our store, for whatever weird reason, does not accept checks. You can trash the checks thing there, and it'll ask you, are you sure? Yes. To my knowledge, every store takes cash. Let's say we didn't take American Express. We can trash American Express. Let's say that we did not here allow, say, third-party billing. Like, let's say a customer walks in and says, my employer is going to pay 25% of whatever I purchase because I'm getting it for work. If we did not allow that, if that was not part of our thing, we'd remove the finance company. And if we do not do store account or store credit, we'd remove that, but I leave that there. But let's say we take food stamps. We can go to Add, put in a code that's just for our internal reference. We're going to say EBT for electronic benefits transfer. Description, food stamps. Enter. Receipt description, EBT. Give it a category of food stamps. And we are not going to assign a specific GL account to this here, and we're not going to assign a checking account to this here. Leave it at my currency. We are not going to say allow it for, actually, no, we will allow it for quick sale. And we don't need to open the cash drawer, and we're not going to use EBT food stamp verification. So we're going to F10 that. And then we're going to move food stamps all the way to the top of the list. So our list now with food stamps on here is food stamps, cash, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and store account. So there we go. We've got our tender definition set the way we need it to. Then we need to say file, definitions, currency definitions. And if you're taking foreign currency in your shop, or if there are things in here which you will not accept, say you do not accept bills larger than a 20, you can trash the $100 bill, trash the $50 bill, and then you do not accept, let's see here, you don't accept $2 bills. So let's get a look at the $2 bill before we change it, before we get rid of it, so I can show you how this looks. So, currency type, you'd plug in the name, $2 bill, and then you'd say multiplier. So, any number multiplied by 1 equals this. So that would be, in this case, 2.000. If we did the same thing for, say, the 50-cent piece, did edit, so that would be 0.5000. Multiply that, actually times, to equal 1 of 50 cents. So if we did, say, let's see here, $5 bill, you can see that it's 5.000. So multiply this by 1 to equal a 5. Okay, so there we go. And if, like, let's say you accepted silver dollars or millennium gold dollars or something, you can add them and you'd get the very similar screen like this. But there we go. There is your tender definition, and that's how it's done. In the next video, we are going to be talking about system setup. So, I will see you then.